Good evening, everybody. So today I wanted to talk to you about how the narcissist controls you. There's a few things that they do and why you're susceptible to it, or why it happens, or why they go this route. When you were in childhood, if you were raised by a narcissist, then chances are you probably got some real good beatings when they would rage on you. They took that spare the rod, spoil the child thing to a whole nother level, because it really was abuse, y'all. If you were dealing with a narcissist, they always do everything opposite of humanity, right? Or it's always unhealthy, but typically it's almost exactly opposite. And that is because unequally yoking is going to show everywhere in this individual if you are not like them. So in the case of the beatings that you got when you were younger from the narcissist raging, see, they would never have a discussion with you or anything. And if they grounded you, they'd ground you forever. And you'd be like locked in a cage, man, damn near. But anyway, this is how they make you supply for a narcissist as well. Not only are you a people pleaser and taught to react and not respond and to accept other people's energy, they don't emotionally checked out. And that's what they tried to do to you, is get you to emotionally check out. And when the narcissists, see, when they went through their trauma, that's what they did. They emotionally checked out. So their emotions went all the way to the left. To where in humanity, we can feel good emotions, bad emotions. We know what evil's like, hate. We can even feel hate. We can even experience it. We do. We're human too. They're human. But what they did is, if you look at like a speedometer, like the clock type, the old school now, right? So the old school speedometer, it's kind of like when they went through their trauma or something, for whatever reason, they couldn't handle it. It like got stuck to the left. I don't know, you guys have all seen like a air gauge or something where it's stuck to one side and it's broken, and you have to put a new gauge on it, unscrew it, and put a new one on. Just throw it away. It's no good anymore. And that's kind of what the narcissist did through their trauma. It's like, because they can feel the hate, the anger, and all of the negative attributes that go with emotions. They know how to process those in an unhealthy way. But you're going to be completely dysfunctional if you can't feel both emotions. And so in the case of the narcissist, they only feel the evil, to where in humanity, all of the rest of us, we can feel love, anger, hate, dishonesty, all that. And it's like, what they did though is, it didn't break as much as they probably just shut it down and refused to ever go there. But that doesn't mean that they had any more trauma than you. This is all, if you get to talking with these psychotherapists and stuff, and all of this is in this literature, textbook, it's all theory. They have to tell you that too. It's all theory where they come up with this. And so their theory is based on a psychological and a physical, metaphysical level. But they don't ever look at the spirit of the person or anything spiritual in this world. If you notice, everything just continues to get smaller or greater or bigger in this world system. They don't really ever want you to think in a spiritual level for anything. And this at least has it has pieces in the spiritual life. When you get into the mind, you're getting into the spirit, okay? The spirit of the individual. My point is they got broke in the hatred type side, to where we can feel hatred, but we know it's not right most of the time. And so what I'm getting at is, when they would beat you, they got you on a level of emotions, heavy emotions. And probably they were kind of maybe even testing us to see if that trauma would cause us to stay to the left, stay broken like they are. I don't know. But nevertheless, we have a gauge that sits in the middle at like 12 o'clock, and it can go to 9 o'clock for hate, and it can go to 3 o'clock for love. You know what I mean? And they can't do that. And so you're groomed again to take more abuse when you get out of the family unit. Because if that's probably how they test and know that you're not going to become a narcissist, because you get treated a certain way, and if you don't break, then you're going to end up, they're going to make you the scapegoat. or the invisible child, or the comedian, because you're not going to ever become a narcissist, and it doesn't matter what kind of trauma you go through, hopefully with God's grace, right? But my point is then, guess who sees that? When you get out of the family unit, the narcissist, any kind of abuser, is going to see that you're going to be more of a potential enabler, little did you know, or people pleaser, and still little did we didn't know these different titles and things existed and how we operated to some degree. Not like to the level that we would, how much the abuse went. Because when you grow up enmeshed in this, you really have to put it all together late in life, because they were emotionally checked out. I knew that wasn't right. I don't know about y'all. I'll hear it in the comments. But let me know if whenever your caregiver was raising you and they never emotionally go into anything or discuss anything with any kind of emotional level, no kind of verbal or intimate level in the subconscious, it's almost like it's been wiped and seared. And I always thought that was the oddest thing, because they don't ever talk about their childhood, and if you bring it up, they will play the victim, and maybe they were the victim, and if they want to sit in victimhood, they can. But empaths and super empaths and chosen one of the people that wake up, we do not ever want to be the victim. We want to get out of victimhood, or whatever we're in, as the victim. We just didn't know what we were dealing with. And when you're enmeshed in this stuff, I don't know about y'all, but I to some degree knew that stuff wasn't right, but I didn't know to what level that these individuals were thinking in their psyche. So that's just another case where, because when you get your emotional field hijacked, that's why they look for real emotional people that have, what they would say, mine would tell me that she liked my passion, but that's kind of like saying that she liked my high emotional level. Because if you have a high emotional level like us, all of us, then we give, and we try to please them to avoid more abuse or their threatening thoughts of, breaking up with us and things like that. Some of it's unconscious, but it becomes conscious at some point as you continue down these roads. It's not right. But they will, in those beatings, it causes you to either go to the left as a child, or just, kind of deal with it and minimize it. And that's why we became people pleasers, because we wanted to minimize the abuse from the narcissist. I don't know how many of y'all know that. I'm sure most of you do. But in the situation of the beatings, there's just another way that they were a tactic of grooming. And maybe it was unconscious to them, I'm sure, to some of them, because most of them are unawoke. Most of your garden variety types, and most of the ones that you grew up with, some of them are going to be borderlines. If they stayed married for a long time, they might have been borderlines or some sort of covert narcissist. You don't really want to know what they were doing altogether, nor do you want to know what your ex-partner was doing. You're best not to even dig in. That's why you don't really need too much closure. People that follow these individuals around, do a reverse stalk on them. I call it a reverse stalk because we don't do that typically. But sometimes an empath that doesn't get any answers may stalk a little to find out what the hell's going on, because you're not getting anything out of the narcissist, but you feel like your intuition's kicking on all gears, telling you, throwing up red flags. And over time, you got to do something. You either got to leave them, but some of y'all got, finances and children, all kind of stuff. So you may do a private investigator, you may hire a private investigator, or you may stalk them yourself for a little bit. Just follow them to find out what the heck they're doing when they're not with you, because they're not doing nothing good. And then you find out all this extra marital affairs and all these terrible situations. And a lot of times, in my opinion, once you go, and don't dig in, because it'll just make some of that traumatic stuff that you've been through worse. It hurts worse. And it's better for you not to know if they're out with 15 love partners and you don't know how many, but there's several out there, because then you're going to find out if they were people that you knew as well. And that's why when you wake up to narcissism, you have to go in silence for a time and heal and meditate and pray about it, talk to the Lord about it, and then be by yourself. And then you need to confide in like one person that you know you can trust, man. And they're gonna be non-partial to giving you, good information. You don't want them to just side with you. You want them to tell you the truth straight up. And that's what I like to tell you on the channel here, because that's how I like to have it. And so that's something that happens along with, the people pleasing. You get the abuse through the beatings, and you people please to try to calm the narcissist hierarchy parent or whoever, guardian that was raising you, to simmer them down and to keep their rage down, or the manipulative tactics that they use on you. And then, they're unemotional, they're emotionally checked out. So then that's where you have dysfunction too, because if you're dealing with something before you wake up to this, and you're scared, you become scared to deal with expressing those emotions as an adult. I don't think a lot of people talk about that, but you have to, as you get away, you have to let that trauma go, because you're going to have to express your feelings and your thoughts to individuals, whether you like it or not, or whether they like it or not, if you want to have a healthy relationship. Because empaths can even go on, being there, when you're, especially if you've been with a narcissist after enmeshment for a long period of time, then a lot of times what happens is you can become just as toxic to a healthy individual. So what happens is you're on that narc vibration, especially you've been with a narcissist all your life growing up, and then you were under, their care, and then you left them. You probably dated or married or had narcissistic friends, because that's all you're going to get most of the time in a narcissistic family, because most people that are real functional are not going to want to hang out with you around those individuals. The narcissist family will ruin it, and they will mock and make fun of you in a passive aggressive way. And then your friends won't respect you and may try to use those same mockeries on you when you're with them and y'all's other friends. So then you're going to only hang out with people that are going to continually put peer pressure on you. This is deep, y'all. Give me a like. And then you can get into habits, addictions, all kinds of different things. And you start, operating similar to a narcissist. And then you end up with a narcissist. And then you get beat down in a love partner relationship. And then when you get out of that and you get a normal relationship going on, but you haven't healed and haven't, thought and processed some of these thoughts, because it hurts to some degree, and some of it you don't know. You've either been traumatized out of dealing with it to some degree, like the narcissist, but you're not trying to hurt people, but you could still be incredibly dysfunctional to some degree, because you can do things like, if you don't want to deal with situations, you may ghost somebody and then eventually tell them down the road when you feel comfortable, but that's not fair either. So, but you've been used to, through all those beatings and stuff, what it does is it causes you to, maybe you become traumatized, but heavily emotional. And so they also will, try to get you to react all the time. And that's because of those beatings and stuff like that, would cause these situations to occur in your life. And then because your narcissistic hierarchy didn't try to process that information with you, why you're getting them, why you have to get beat so hard and so long and so often, and whenever you have questions about anything in life, they never want to deal with it, talk about it. A lot of times they'll just blame you. Like you're a complete burden to them. And then you kind of just be quiet, and you become that invisible child. And a lot of times, in my case, I feel like I've been all of those: the scapegoat, the invisible child, and the comedian at different times in my life as I, grew out of adolescence and stuff. But then when you wake up, you start realizing that you got to be invisible with them. If you ever do see them, the best thing you could do is so first you want to attack them, because they had so much control over you, and you start figuring out that you're getting sick because they're living through you and you're doing everything for them, and they're controlling you with a lot of different things. There's nothing the narcissist gives, not gifts, anything. Everything has strings attached to it. And if you don't do what you're told, even as an adult, they'll control you through your, if you have a good relationship, they'll get you to get a loan off of them. My narcissist hierarchy begged me to take a loan from them when I got out of school. And then when I was dating somebody they didn't like, then they demanded a bunch of money. And I didn't even want to take the loan. I only took the loan because they said that their accountant told them it was the best idea to avoid paying higher, taxes and stuff. So I got to a point to where I said, you know what? The first time that happened, because I'd been dealing with it for so long, I just got me a no interest credit card for 18 months. And I put it on that. It was a school loan. And I just kept flipping that until I can get it paid off. I paid them off right away because I am not going to be controlled by nobody like that. But these are things they will do. That's why you don't ever want to accept a gift from a narcissist, because it's cursed before you even get it. And then they're always going to talk about how they gave you this gift. Half the time it's a gift that, like people always say, it's a gift that you never wanted and it would never even be useful to you. They do that stuff on purpose because they're completely dysfunctional. They'll always cook you a meal. If you're on a diet, or if you're trying to do a lifestyle change to eat healthier, then they're going to give you unhealthy food. And then if you're trying to gain weight, they're going to give you food that's going to make you lose weight or something. It's like everything they do is backwards. And at some point, so you start, giving, when you start waking up to the control, but you don't know it's narcissism, then you take your parts of your life back and start living for yourself. Like, especially if you've gone through anxiety and depression because of this type of stuff, because you're always doing everything for everybody else and not for yourself. Okay, then what happens is you go from being quiet, like I did, is you go from being quiet when you wake up to that control factor, and then eating off your birthright, controlling you like a puppet, and then the puppeteer, you start giving it right back to them. But then they love that too. And then you start realizing that doesn't work either, because then anywhere you go with them, they're going to start testing your boundaries and get you to react that way. But this is an unawoke empath. I'm just telling you from experience before I woke up completely. So then you get to a point where you go right back to the way you were, except you know why you're doing it, which is you just get quiet because they don't want to hear you, whatever you have to say, they're not going to agree with it. You're going to be the idiot, and you're going to be the disapproved one or the one mocked. So, or you were there and whatever they're talking about didn't happen the way they say it happened, and you're tired of telling them they're telling it the wrong way, like they're lying. So you just decide, if you're ever in those family dinners or whatever, or anything like that, just shut up again like you did when you were unawoke. But really what you're doing is you're gray rocking. I used to always say, my family will see me, but they will never know who I am because they don't want to. And that's fine. But the beating will cause all those things cause a lot of incredible dysfunction in your life. And that's why if you don't heal, you're going to continue to walk in that's the vibration of the narcissist. When people say the narc vibration, it's not just like their evil aura that is on you when you're ruminating and they're still corded up to you, but it's those things. It's you walk in dysfunction to some degree yourself, and you can pick up bad habits from a narcissist if you've been with one for 10 years, so to say. Because they will force you down repetitive bad habitual things. And so I wanted to go over that because I don't think a lot of people do. And when you start to go inside and heal, a lot of times you will get your answers after waking up to narcissism and able to investigate it and realize why the people around you were the way they were and why the people coming to you are the same way. So if you can give me a like, this is good stuff, y'all. You don't hear this every day. I love y'all. Until next time. So job. Peace. I'm out.